Hello, my name's Daniel Ray Norris. I started making knives in March of 2023, so not very long ago. This workshop was completed in late January of this year, 2023. A really nice gentleman built it for me. I told him kind of what I wanted. He got it, I think, pretty much perfect. It's in the backyard of our home here in Wilmington, North Carolina. I publish books, design books, and teach biology full time. This is a hobby of mine and something that I'm just trying to get my mind wrapped around and my hands wrapped around so I can make some knives and do a few other things here in the shop. 99% making knives, occasionally destroying knives. I have one over here that I messed up this morning pretty bad. I don't think I'm going to be able to salvage it. But anyway, like I said, this channel is really to share my learning experience and perhaps even some of the knives that I make. So it's sort of a 50-50 mix of this is what Norris Knives has made or is making or will make, and on the other side of the coin, this is what I'm going to make into the channel. Just my experience with learning how to make knives. Really the novice perspective of making knives using the equipment that I have. I finally feel like the whole shop is 98% equipped the way I want it to be. Matter of fact, yesterday I got the even heat kiln / oven, whatever you call these things, that will enable me to have better control over the temperatures and a whole lot less burning of knives, which I have done a few times. Made them look like the skin of a rhinoceros. They look pretty bad. So I have a few knives over there I may show you later, maybe in another video, but right now this is just an introduction. You can see the even heat oven, which I'm very excited about. I got it yesterday, and I'll show you a few pictures of that. It's very nice, very easy to use so far. I've programmed it a little bit. And in the back, you can see my Ameribraid 2x72 grinder that I got a couple of months ago. And when I got that, I really felt like I was able to make knives the right way, or at least make them the way I want to make them. I am from southeastern North Carolina. I lived in Teachee, a little town right next to Wallace and Rose Hill in Duplin County, for many years, and then I moved to Carolina Beach. I went to school in Guam, and I settled down at Carolina Beach and lived there for 30 years on the Intracoastal Waterway. Then I moved to Hampstead with my wife. We got married about 7 years ago, and we started a home in Hampstead, again on the Intracoastal Waterway. Then we moved to Wilmington, where I was born. I've never lived in the city, but we moved here about 4.5 years ago, no, 4 years ago, maybe 5. I can't add them up in my head, probably 5. And we've loved living here ever since. And it enabled me to put a knife shop in the backyard so I could do this hobby a little bit better than I could have probably done there at Hampstead. But anyway, okay, so my first knife, I just want to show it to you. Let me grab it. Get off the camera for a second. My very first knife that I can call a knife, I made early March of this year, not very long ago, and it's pretty hideous. Here it is. I'm almost ashamed to show it to anybody. You can kind of get it close to the camera. But it was more of an experiment in using the equipment than making a beautiful knife. I will keep it. It's sentimental to me. But that was the first one, and it was about 44 or 45 knives ago. I think I put out 44, and then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 knives currently awaiting to have their handles attached, the scales attached to them, which I will do in the next few weeks. But let me get back to the even heat oven real quick. It addresses those knives. I've been using the stock removal method, which is what I'll continue to do moving forward. That's what I'm comfortable with. The even heat is going to enable me to get into stainless steel in the next few days. I've got some, what do you call it, a doer A dewar is a container, which I had never heard that word before, for holding liquid nitrogen, which I'll just go get some and use it for the cryo treatment of some of these stainless steels. I think I'm going to work with AEB-L first because it seems to be a forgiving, fairly easy one to use for novices, and I am truly a novice. In these videos that I'm going to make, you'll see me scratching my head and forgetting a word or two, or maybe even not knowing the term for some of the techniques or equipment or tools in knife making. So I apologize for that. This is a novice perspective on knife making. I do hope to bring to the table, bring to the video, things I wish I had known when I first started, or things that really made a big difference in my journey to getting to a decent looking knife. Let me show you what I consider a pretty decent looking knife. This was a mistake. I made a mistake. I think I actually had a problem with the tip of this knife, and I attempted to make a handle that was not just straight, kind of an ergonomic handle. I'm very fond of this knife. I think I made it about a month ago. Has brass pins. It's probably 1095. It might be 80 CRV too, but I believe those are ironwood handles, ironwood scales, and I did something a little different with that, and I'm pretty proud of that. Pretty proud of that knife. My handles are a little thick. My son Jack tells me that I need to thin them down, and I think he's right. But I'm working on that. It's just finding my style has been a challenge and fun. It's sort of coming together organically. Let's see, what else have I got here on my little note? Sorry about looking at the note. I started out with a Jet 2x40 something grinder that got me going. It was fairly inexpensive, and that was a exciting, fun, and frustrating because I knew that was just a step from going to a beginner knife maker to a late stage beginner knife maker when I got the 2x72 Ameribraid. So that was a big deal to go from that to that. Let's see what else. A bandsaw. That was horrible. I'll probably do a little video on that one day. I bought a really decent tabletop bandsaw, and it was awful. It gave me so much trouble I had to send it back. But I ended up using one of these pipe saws. These pipe saws just to cut little bits of metal and maybe even to do a little cutting of scales to angle the scales a little bit. So that's been a big help and not a lot less frustrating than the bandsaw. I think if I had a proper bandsaw, it would be a whole different story. Made my own little quench vessel. I'll show you that later. I've got a disc grinder over here. Of course, that's almost absolutely necessary piece of equipment. Lots of files. I had a 3-burner forge, which you might not be able to see up in the loft of this building, and was pretty good. It got me through. But this right here, the Evenheat 22 LB 22.5 has been a big boost in what I'm getting ready to do. I really haven't cooked anything in it yet, but I'm going to. So I usually start with 2x12, 2-inch by 12-inch stock for stock removal, and I'll do that a few times on a design. Let me see here. I've got a design that I'm kind of proud of that I came up right out of my head. This is what I would call a skinning knife. It's got a big blade, kind of large, almost 2.4 inches vertically, and I tried. This might have been my very first or second attempt at a full flat grind, and I love how it thins out the blade. This is, I think, 1/4 inch stock, but I'm absolutely just tickled to death with this knife, and I can't wait to put scales on it and get the handle finished. But full flat grind is kind of my thing. For a while there, I was using doing hollow grinds. I have a big 14-inch wheel, which you can't quite see. I might revisit that, of course, for some future knives, but right now I'm enamored with the full flat grind. Anyway, some of the things in the knife shop that have always been fun to deal with are my adhesives and cleaners and things like acetone, things that I'm not used to working with, those have been fun, learning how to use. I've never really been a woodworker. I think this whole project started out as a woodworking gone bad. What else? Shop's 20 by 10. It's an A-frame. It's got a little loft right above the camera. Lots of lighting. I can't have enough light, it seems. The older I get, the less my eyes are good at dealing with low light. Got a lot of windows. You can see the yard a lot easily. We got 1, 2, 3 windows we bought that are vintage Craftsman House windows. Then a little window we bought from Lowe's, and 2 over here. Lots of windows. A big Dutch door. It's, you know, a lot of people have shops where they don't have a lot of windows. I think it keeps me sane being able to see nature outside the shop while I'm working. So anyway, 20 by 10. It was an add-on to an existing structure. I used the other little shed, which is connected to this, for storage. What else here? Number of knives, about 45. Just want to keep up with my little list here. I have a website. You probably can see that here on the YouTube channel. It is norrisknives.com. You should visit it sometime. Got a lot of my knives featured on there, just some good pictures of them. Some of them are for sale. I never started this to sell knives, but might as well sell a few to reduce my inventory if I can. What else? That's about it. Water jet. Okay. Want to address what I think about water jetting knives or people cutting out knives, especially if you're a stock removal kind of knife maker. Water jets, everybody probably knows what that is. It's just like a fancy piece of equipment that shoots high pressure water through a piece of material, and in this case metal. I use 2 services for that because what I'll do is I'll stock removal a design and do 2 or 3, maybe even 4 or 5 versions of that, and get to where I like it, iron out all the kinks. And then if I'm going to do more of that same design, instead of going through the process of stock removal, I will let somebody else take my design, which I design on the computer with Adobe Illustrator, and I'll send it off to a couple of different companies. And I'll talk about those 2 companies sometime on a future video. But I do appreciate the convenience that offers, but I do feel like somebody should make their knives first and remove the, deal with stock removal and all the sparks and the grinder and the blood. Sometimes I get cut up sometimes before they move on to actually ordering something through WaterJet. Although, to each his own. You can just go straight to WaterJet if you want to, or you can buy pre-made blanks. But for me, the right way to do it is to stock removal, do it the manual way, and then get into WaterJet if you feel like it. And it should be your own designs, or at least something you've adapted. Okay, all right. Well, that's an introduction, I reckon. In Wilmington, North Carolina, in my little shop, starting out Norris knives. This is my very first video. I hope to get better at the videography. I used to be pretty good at that, and the editing. And I'm sorry if some of this is redundant or awkward or slow, but it's my channel, so I can do what I want to. Anyway, thank you for listening. See you soon. Hey, forgot to ask. If you like my video, go ahead and hit the like button. It looks like a little thumb. And go ahead and subscribe. I appreciate it. It'd be fun to see how many people subscribe. Leave a comment below if you have any questions or if you want to ask me anything.